Joining me now is David Korn, Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones. David, good to talk to you. So I'm just going to start with this. We have news now that with the select committee that's going to be investigating January 6th, that McCarthy is going to be appointing a couple of people there. He's going to put on Jim Jordan, Lee Stefanik, Jim Banks of Indiana, Mike Johnson, Louisiana. My first question for you, why the heck is Nancy Pelosi even allowing any Republicans on this committee? And certainly any Republicans on this committee who voted against putting the committee together. This makes absolutely no sense. This is worse than allowing the fox to guard the hen house, right? This is the opposing team inviting them into your locker room to look at the playbook before the Super Bowl. Explain this to me. Well,
it's even worse than that. Go and look at the first impeachment hearing that Jim Jordan played a big role in. He and the others, Lee Stefanik too, all they did was to try to divert and deflect. It's not about Ukraine. It's about Adam Schiff. It's not about Russia intervention. Ukraine intervened. It's about the Steele dossier. It was everything about the fact that Donald Trump tried to pressure the Ukrainian president to launch an investigation of Biden. They want to make it into a circus. They don't want to get to the truth. And they know it doesn't take two to turn something into a you-know-what type of show. It takes one to do that. One group of people running around, lighting their hairs on fire and dumping all over a serious proceeding to the public at large makes it look like a madhouse. And that's all they need to do. They need to delegitimize and discredit the investigation. They don't have to prove that Donald Trump did the right thing. They just have to make it seem like this is just partisan bickering. And you know how, unfortunately, some of our colleagues in the media cover these things. They, partisan fighting breaks out at committee hearing today is what will happen. And Jim Jordan is particularly good at that. Now, I don't know what choice Speaker Pelosi has in terms of, of not letting Republicans on the committee at all. But I do think they're going to be very tight rules. And they're going to have to just, have their like the Orwellian 2 minutes of hate and just let them rant and rave for a couple minutes at every hearing and then say, are you finished now? Can we get back to reality? But it's going to be very ugly.
Right. And here's the thing. Look, I've always found it amazing the number of conspiracies that Jim Jordan is always able to find in public but couldn't find when he was a coach back in his pre-politics career. But here's the other problem with this that I see. It is another sign of weakness on the part of Democratic Party leadership. Why can't Pelosi simply say, look, we're going to have this committee. We'll allow Republicans on the committee, but voting against the committee to investigate the insurrection is an automatic disqualifier. There were 40-something Republicans who voted in favor of this investigation. Why not say to McCarthy right now, that is the pool of people that you have to pick from? Because, David, you're exactly right. All we're going to hear about is Jim Jordan screaming. All we're going to hear about is the one crazy thing, the one strange guest, that the special guest star, the one person that the Republicans give the rose to, and it's going to bring down the entire event. Why do you think the Democrats are not flexing the power they actually have on a committee this important?
I think to some degree they still believe in fairness. I mean, for good or bad. And, you and I can grimace about this. But, they know they may be in the minority in 2 years from now. And, there are rules about establishing committees. And usually the leader of the party gets to pick whether you're the minority leader or the Speaker of the House. And I think, they don't want to totally blow that up. Now, your question, actually, I understand where it's coming from. And it's actually take it down a level deeper. And the question becomes, how do you work with a party that wants to subvert democracy, that believes in creeping authoritarianism, that wants to delegitimize elections? We talk about, bipartisanship and unity, but how can you play nice with someone who wants to tear down your house? You can't have a hearing on fire safety with an arsonist who's running around with kerosene and a Bic lighter. Right. So how do you proceed? Now, I think in some ways the Democrats are going to have to get to a bigger narrative here. It may have to come from Joe Biden, that the Republican, because he talks about bringing the country together. He's working together on infrastructure. But if indeed there's a party that's committed to implementing authoritarianism, to undermining and subverting democracy, That story needs to be told, and it's a hard story to tell. I understand that. A lot of Americans don't want to believe it or won't believe it. Some believe that the people telling that story are actually the enemies and they want to destroy America. It's a very hard thing to bring about, particularly when the media is often going to both side it and say, well, Democrats say that Republicans want to do this and Republicans say Democrats want to do that. But I think at some point, and when Biden gets a few things done, this may have to be the story that's told going into the next election and certainly 2024.
I don't see how, and I love your metaphor, I don't see how you can investigate a fire, when half the other team is filled with Fire Marshal Bill. David Corn, thank you so very much.